Hey, it's Freedom Friday, Freedom Family. It's good to be with you today. We're going to be talking about something that's really quite, it's such a big, super important topic for pretty much everybody that I work with, because feeling shame about our bodies, hatred, even being really cruel with our thoughts is actually one of the most destructive things that you can do in service of change. I know sometimes we might come into this thinking, well, if I'm too soft on myself, I'll never do anything. Yeah, there's probably some value to that. But at the same time, being vicious and cruel, borderline abusive with your self-talk is actually going to make things worse. So we're going to dive into that today. I'm going to explain all of that. And I'm going to give you a really clear way to have a proper quality boss talk with yourself about your body and your eating behaviors that will powerfully motivate you and move in the direction that you actually want to go, instead of being cruel with your words or with your internal self-talk and actively making things worse, not better. Give me a second, because I'm using a new streaming software and I just want to make sure everything's working. That looks good. I can also see your comments. So if you're joining live, please, I'd love you to pop a few comments, ask questions as I go along. There'll probably be nobody on this one today because this whole live thing is pretty new and I've been a little quiet about it, but I'll start promoting it better. And if you ever watch one of these or you join me and you can see I'm live, please jump on and ask questions or just shoot me a hi there. Let me know where you're from. So let's dive into today's talk. Freedom Family, if this video gives you some value today, I would love you to hit the like button, because I want this content to get out to people who need to hear it. And I'd love you to subscribe to the channel and hit all the notification bells so that we could just keep wiring in food freedom every lunchtime, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I'm here. So today's topic is really around body shame, body criticism, and how to turn around this negative self-talk that we carry about our bodies. Because let's be honest, none of us were born hating our bodies. None of us. We were all born not even aware that it was a thing. And we certainly didn't come out the womb thinking, oh my gosh, all the fat rolls, right? But we've been born into a cruel, cruel world where for many people, and in fact, obviously as a woman, I really relate to this, but for men too, our worth is being more and more conflated with our body shape and size and beauty levels, etc., etc. Now, granted, these are all, it's all in the eye of the beholder, right? Oh, I've just thought of something that I need to share onto my social media that I saw yesterday, which was fantastic, related to this. But it's all in the eye of the beholder. And that's important to recognize. But it doesn't change the fact that sometimes when you catch your image, you might be feeling utter revulsion at what you see or despair. And that is something we have to just take a moment right now to acknowledge. We were not born with that. That is something that we've learned. Now, I don't know if you're watching this, what body you're in. You might be in a body that's actually perfectly happy and healthy as it is today, but it's not enough for you or for what you think it should be. Maybe you've come into this video in a body that's, after years of compulsive overeating, emotional eating, binge eating, whatever you want to call it, loss of control, you've actively put on, over a period of time, a lot of extra body weight. And it's easy to blame the food for that, and it's easy to shame yourself for not being strong enough. But hopefully we'll get a sense of that's not the problem. And I'm going to give you some pointers as to what to do all about that. But ultimately, here you are. So when we actually look in the mirror, and I'd love you to do this as the weekend challenge. It's Freedom Friday, which means there's a challenge coming at you for the weekend. Spend 15 minutes doing this work. Now, this could be very challenging. And you might find as you do this work that you start to tear up or you feel very emotional. A lot of pain comes up for you. And I want you to do your best to just let it out. This is probably not best done in public. This is probably one of these challenges I'm going to give you that you can do alone in front of a mirror in your bathroom or in your bedroom. Strip down and let's just get a real reality check. Let's just get a proper reality check with you where you are. I was on a call a few weeks ago with a client who has, as I described just now, she's had binge eating disorder for quite a few years, and she is in a body that she's very uncomfortable in, not just mentally, but physically too. And she has an understandable desire to want to find ways to help her body lose that weight. Now, that could be a long journey, and that's fine. And first, we've got to do all the work at dropping diets and reframing the mind around food and all these things. And then maybe she can look at finding ways to actively nudge her body in the direction of weight loss. But until then, she's just in despair because every now and again she catches herself and she's just horrified at what she sees. And she said to me, well, Helen, what am I supposed to think? And that's very much what we're going to dive into today. So the first thing is just to get real, not cruel, not abusive, not critical, just real. If you were looking at your bank account and there was a whole lot of nothing in there, what's real is you're broke, right? What's real is you have $5 in your bank account and you're really going to need some money fast. That's the facts. If you're looking at your body, you can do the same thing. What is real? Okay, there's my body. There is the excess. This is exactly what I weigh. It's just a number like your bank account, right? Now, nobody intends to go broke. Nobody takes a job or starts a new business or whatever and signs up a client who ends up backstabbing them or whatever the case may be, expecting and hoping that they'll go broke. And similarly for you, you've never once eaten in the hopes that you'd become overweight if that's where you are. You weren't born hoping one day you'd have really negative body image. I certainly at no point was hoping that I would have a 20-year battle with bulimia on my hands. So let's assume we were all making the best choices we could in the moment to get us to wherever we are today in our today bodies. And that can be a really hard pill to swallow because as you think about that, you might say, yeah, when I was 10 or when I was born. But then if we bring that timeline forward, what about the choices you made last year? What about the choices you made last month? What about the choices you made yesterday? Can you still give yourself that same level of grace for where you are today? And the fact is you need to, because when we feel regret, or regret is fair enough, but when we feel shame about the past, when we should on ourselves for not doing better, it's a pointless exercise because it's conflicting with your reality, because the reality is you didn't. And chances are if you could have, you would have. Now, even that, I imagine there's going to be some resistance to that thought. But the fact is, if you could have done better, or if you should have done better, you would have. And we know you shouldn't have because you didn't. And that's where you are today. That can be a lot to take on, but it's a powerful exercise because it's easy to give a younger self forgiveness. It's a lot harder to give your yesterday self forgiveness. But here's the thing. It is what it is. Even if you struggle to forgive yourself for a choice you might have made, even if you struggle to let that go, and that can take some practice, and that's fine. Where you're at today is where you're at. It's just where it is. And now we got to do something about it. So instead of being cruel, just evaluate exactly where you are. Is your body actually healthy? Is your body unhealthy? Have you been to the doctor lately? What are the stats? Let's get some facts and figures here without putting any shame onto any of them. What's your body doing today? Let's get honest. And if nobody was looking and nobody cared, and the world honestly didn't make any judgments about the size and shape of your body, where is it? So start there. First thing is a reality check. Let's just see what's real. Okay. Not always easy to confront, not easy to look at, I don't know, credit card debt and be like, crikey, I've got $50,000 of credit card debt I've got to pay off. That's not fun. But instead of putting all that emotional energy into it, just realistic. Okay, there's 50K there. That could be a big ass journey ahead of me to change that, right? But getting angry and going, I hate my body, it's so disgusting. How does that change anything other than make you feel worse and drive you to the pantry for one last binge, right? So first things first, reality check, just facts, no emotion, just facts. Second thing, now you want to find the balance between being kind and warm and compassionate, firm and committed. I kind of like this idea of tough love. We tend to think of it as being like self-flagellation. Come on, you fat, lazy cow, get your ass together. That's usually how we have a boss talk within ourselves. But no boss would talk to no good boss would talk to their employees like that. And they certainly wouldn't get their employees to do very much in the long term, right? Shame is a completely useless motivator. A better situation is firm, compassionate, determined, committed. It's loving and it's powerful. And every time you catch yourself body shaming, just bring it back to what's my reality, and let's recommit with firmness of intention to whatever it is that we've chosen to do to help ourselves move ourselves out of whatever situation we're in into where we'd like to be or towards that. Now, if you're watching this, you're probably somebody who's struggling with compulsive overeating or an eating disorder, in which case I can tell you, okay, firstly, I have the strategy. And if you'd like to hear more about that, in the description of the live video of all my lives, there are all the links you could need. The one that you're going to want to click on is the masterclass. It's the Food Foundations Masterclass. That will give you a really solid overview as to what is actually required. There are 4 components to what's required to break these compulsive eating behaviors. 4. And there's a good chance you've already been working on 1, 2, maybe even 3 of them, and you're just missing a piece. There's a lot of practical stuff in there, include how to start to listen to your body again. So if you don't know what strategy to pick, start there. But I can tell you what's never going to work, just going on another diet. I can tell you right now that will absolutely fail, and that probably is a video for a whole nother live, although I think I did one the other day, which is very similar, talking about the same thing. I did. It was a few days ago. Check it out. It'll be like, the headline was, what they don't want you to know. Check that out. Okay. Diets is never going to work. You have to pick a totally different strategy, because I'll bet that it was doing a million fast, aggressive, highly restricted, semi-starvation diets that probably got you right where you are today, with not only a body that you're not comfortable in, but compulsive eating. So diets are not on the list. So, and if you don't know what else to do, then follow my strategy. And if you'd like to work with me, you can also book a call. The link's in the description. So step 1 is be realistic. Step 2 is write firm, kind, committed, and compassionate energy and focus on what you are going to do. What strategy are you going to implement? And here's a little spoiler alert. The more sustainable the strategy is, the more doable it is on a day-to-day basis, the better. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean weight loss. In fact, if you're working with me, it absolutely wouldn't include a weight loss strategy at all in the first at least 3 months. It would only be focused on repairing your relationship with food. And for many people, that has a knock-on effect of turning into weight loss for those people who are in heavier bodies, right? But you have to have a strategy. Having no strategy is like staring at an empty bank account and just getting angry about it, instead of having a strategy about how you're going to find work, right? Okay. And then the third thing is you've got to play the long game. You've got to be willing and make the commitment to say, you know what, this is going to take a while, and I'm ready for this to take as long as it needs. I may as well have some fun on the way. And here's the 4th thing that's included in this is you're going to commit to a new discipline, because as you commit to a strategy, there's bound to be work to do. You know, it's not useful saying, I want to get fit, but I'm not willing to, do any push-ups. Well, that's kind of helpless. You can think about fitness all day long. It's not going to actually get you fit and strong, right? At some point, you've got to do the work. So once you've got a strategy and you've decided you're going to play the long game and do the things that are sustainable, now I want you to make a commitment to a certain kind of discipline that I bet needs a lot of work, but it's such a powerful discipline, because freedom actually requires discipline. And here's the discipline that I'd love you to commit to. It's the discipline to be kind with your mind, the discipline to no longer fall into the trap of self-criticism and self-shame. That is a toughie. It's probably highly automated, and sometimes it'll be hard to stop the mental spiral from happening. But the more you practice swapping, I hate myself, I'm such a lazy cow, blah, 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 with what we're chatting about today, which is, let's just check it for what it is. What do I choose to do? I'm ready to play the long game. And I refuse to self-criticize. I refuse to hate myself, because doing that's only going to make me want to binge. So I will not self-project. I will not self-criticize. I'll get real and I'll get committed. And I'm going to get up and go and do whatever's next. Maybe that's going to bed. Maybe that's phoning a friend. Maybe that's having a cry because all of this is so frustrating. Maybe it's taking a deep breath because you realize there's a long road to climb and you really wanted instant gratification and the 8-week fix, and it's not going to happen that way. But getting that reality and being firm in your commitment and disciplined in the art of not letting this stop you for another minute, because hate never, ever gets anybody anywhere, does it? Other than straight to the fridge or straight to the ice cream or straight to the insert trigger food, right? See, again, that's just an example. I think right at the beginning, I said food's not the problem. When I have somebody, in fact, this happened yesterday. I'm working with a new client and she'd had a wonderful Friday. And then on Saturday, I think she went to an event with some friends and she noticed that headworms central was just kicking off in there. And she was feeling so much pain and shame about the body she was in. What led to the binge later. It wasn't the food. It was the thoughts she had about her body that led to the binge. It's not about the food. The food had been there all day. It was the thinking that kicked off the binge. That's what I really want to help you with, is to change your thinking. We've got to become masterful at what goes on in here. It's not easy, and you're never going to get perfect, and it's going to take a lot of work, but you can raise that foundation. You can get better and better. That was a big topic. I hope you found that really helpful. If you did, please smash that like button. Let me know that you've got value out of this video. I cannot tell you how much it would mean to me. If you have any questions about this or you're struggling, let me know. And remember, confronting and facing the truth of yourself and your body can be very challenging. And last week, one of the things we did on Freedom Friday was to weed the wardrobe. And I actually did. I spent the weekend weeding my wardrobe, refreshing clothes, cleaning things. I've got a bunch of ironing to do. But it's so empowering to actually face the reality of, like, you know what? That shirt is way too small for me. Or that outfit was something I bought 10 years ago. I don't know what I'm doing holding on to it. It's doing nothing but torture me. So if you haven't done that challenge, do it this weekend and pair it with a real boss talk. Be a good boss. Be a good leader. Lead yourself through powerful motivation and commitment to never self-reject and self-criticize about your body again, because that's not going to help. And instead, just get real and keep doing the work. And if you're struggling, you get help. If you wanted to get fit and you were struggling, you'd get a coach. So of course, I'm here and ready and waiting when you're ready. I'd love to help you. But you know what? There are not a million, sadly, probably not a million. There are some other wonderful, wonderful coaches out there who can help you with this, who really know how to break these compulsive eating behaviors, who really get it that it's not about the food. It's about so much more. It's the diet culture we were born into. It's the self-criticisms. It's the emotional stuff that we don't know how to heal or feel. It's a big package, but it's doable. And I promise you that if you were to commit for 3 months to a year onto putting a lot of energy and focus into this, you'd be amazed at the results. And that's actually one last thing we want to touch on. This stuff takes work. You can't just think yourself into, oh, tomorrow I'm going to eat perfectly. Because chances are you will just repeat the same automated habits and the same habits of thinking and the same emotional habits as you always have. So it's important to create new change, and it's going to be uncomfortable. And more importantly, it's going to take work, effort, focus, and energy. You'll need to prioritize time to this. You'll need to prioritize time to your physical body, looking after it as best you can. And you'll need to prioritize time to the mental stuff and to doing the work, maybe with a therapist or a coach, to processing and healing some of the emotional stuff that's coming up for you. It's a commitment, and I get it that you guys that you're busy, because most of my clients are. But at some point, we hit a wall and we say, I'm fed up of this. I'm fed up of seeing, we'll use the bank account again. I'm fed up of that number in my bank account. I need to change, and I've been trying, and I don't know what else to do. And now I'm going to go get some help with that. Or let me try that thing I didn't give a try. Or let's get rid of all the things that definitely weren't working. I've done 20 diets already. Probably not going to work again, right? So having these kind of boss talks, they're firm, they're committed, they're seeing things for what they are, not worse than they are. And then they get ready and motivated to take action. And then a good boss is going to take an action, see how it plays out, reevaluate if necessary, or just repeat, right? It's the same with food freedom. Work, effort, action, checking, reevaluating, changing something if need be, trying again, seeing if it works out, pivoting if required, and continuing to do the work. Now, obviously, if you don't have a strategy that will, you don't have to learn this all by trial and error. There are a lot of people like myself that can help you with an actual route through this and a path forward. That was a great one. I mean, I say so myself, but no, it's an important topic. And in many ways, I coached myself through these things too, because, I've struggled with body image since I was, I don't know, 10, 11, 12. Maybe I got lucky. I think some of you have started a lot earlier. And because I'd 30 plus years of thinking negatively about my body, it's taken a lot of work to really embrace where it's at. And now what I'm really pushing into is being okay with the judgment of others, knowing that if I go live, knowing that if I put stuff on social media, I'm going to be judged. You know what? I'm getting good at that too. And we'll definitely do a video about how to handle the judgments of others. But today's focus is on turning your own negative judgments around. Realistic is fine. Mean, cruel, abusive language up there, it's only going to make things worse. Okay, so make that commitment. No more self-criticism. If you're going to have a boss talk, make it real, make it motivational, help you take action. A boss talk is not self-abuse. So let's get clear. All right, lovelies. I hope that helped. For those of you who are struggling with bulimia specifically, you can join me on the Bulimia Freedom channel in 5 minutes. We're going to be chatting about the regret we have and the impact we have on our loved ones, particularly children. So, you know what? I think that's probably a talk that you might enjoy, even if you're not struggling with bulimia. So you can find the link is in the description for the channel. You can find me there and you can watch the replay. We're going to be chatting about regret and the impact of disordered eating behaviors on our loved ones. Okay, everybody, have a wonderful weekend. I will see you next week. I can't wait to share with you what we're doing next week. There's some good stuff coming up. So stay tuned, smash the like button, hit subscribe and the notification bell, and I will see you next Monday. Same place, same time.